It's Thursday, January 31st. In what is being seen as a fallout of the government's efforts to block publication of data that would call out its jobs claims, two independent members of the National Statistical Commission, one of whom is the acting chairperson, have resigned. The resignations are reportedly to protest the withholding of the National Sample Survey Organization's first annual survey on employment and unemployment for the year 2017-18. P.C. Mohanan, the acting chairperson, was quoted by the Business Standard as saying, "The report was approved and should have been released immediately but was not. I thought I should not watch silently what was happening." Another reported reason for the resignations is that the Commission was not consulted by the Niti Aayog before it released the backdated GDP series. In November last year, the Niti Aayog had come under fire for announcing the revised GDP data of the UPA years. Former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram targeted the centre, saying this was the death of an institution by malicious negligence by the government. He tweeted, "We mourn the death of the National Statistical Commission and remember with gratitude its valiant fight to release untainted GDP data and employment data." The ministry on Wednesday issued a clarification in which it said it was processing the quarterly data and the report will be released after that. Financial Express editor Sunil Jain in his analysis writes that the resignations buttress the view that jobs growth is poor. He writes there are now no external members in the commission to vouch for the integrity of the CSO data and process. This is all the more unfortunate since, apart from the controversy over Niti Aayog driving the GDP back series computations, one of the areas of controversy is over how jobs have fared in the Modi period. And while the NSSO's employment survey for 2017-18 was to shed light over this, the trigger for the resignation appears to be the fact that the data has not been released by the government, despite the National Statistical Commission approving the report over a month ago. Since the chairman of the NSC said one of the reasons for his resignation was that he was not being taken seriously, it puts another cloud on the official data and strengthens the view that jobs growth in the Modi period has been poor.
पर्रिकर जी ने स्वयं कहा था कि डील बदलते समय प्रधानमंत्री ने हिंदुस्तान के डिफेंस मिनिस्टर से नहीं पूछा.
This claim, made by Congress President Rahul Gandhi on Tuesday, that former Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar told him he had nothing to do with the Rafale deal as negotiated by the Modi government, has now been contested by Parrikar. Gandhi, remember, had met an ailing Parrikar earlier on Tuesday. In a statement, Manohar Parrikar, who is now the Chief Minister of Goa, said, "I feel let down that you have used this visit for your petty political gains. In the 5 minutes you spent with me, neither did you mention Rafale, nor did we discuss anything about it. Paying a courtesy visit and then stooping so low as to make a false statement for petty political gain has raised in my mind questions about the sincerity and purpose of your visit itself." Just before Rahul Gandhi visited the Goa Chief Minister, he had tweeted this: 30 days since the Goa audio tapes on Rafale were released, no FIR or inquiry, no action against the minister either. It's obvious that the tapes are authentic and that Goa Chief Minister Parrikar is in possession of explosive Rafale secrets that give him power over the Prime Minister. Rahul Gandhi was referring to an audio clip released by the Congress earlier this month, purportedly of a conversation between Goa BJP Minister Vishwajit Rane and an unidentified individual, in which the man they claim is Rane can be heard saying that Parrikar told the Goa cabinet he had all the information about Rafale in his possession. The Calcutta High Court has turned down a woman's petition seeking to terminate her 26-week-old pregnancy. The woman had moved the High Court on January 22nd after tests indicated that the fetus had Down syndrome and abnormalities in heart, abdomen, and esophagus. Doctors she had consulted had also advised termination of pregnancy. A medical board at the state-run SSKM hospital in a report to the court said the child would be born alive and would survive with advanced neonatal care. The woman challenged the board's decision, saying it had only accounted for the condition of the fetus and not the mother's physical and mental trauma and financial constraints of raising a child with Down syndrome and health problems. A woman's right to reproductive health is inalienable from her right to life, the woman's lawyer told the court, but her plea was turned down. The Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act currently does not allow termination beyond the gestational period of 20 weeks. This case once again puts the spotlight on the need, as reproductive rights activists have been saying, to amend the law. The campaign to review the existing law began in right earnest exactly 10 years ago. In 2008, a couple, Nikita and Harish Mehta, along with their Nikhil Datar, moved the Bombay High Court seeking permission to terminate her pregnancy after tests showed severe abnormalities in the fetus's heart. The plea made by the couple was that they did not want the child to suffer for life. The court rejected the plea, and that ignited a debate on the need to amend the legislation. Medical professionals argue that when the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act was enacted in 1971, the technology may have allowed for safe abortions only up to the 20-week period. But advancement in medicine and technology, they argue, allow for aborting the fetus even beyond the 20 weeks period with no additional risks. Dr. Datar writes, under normal circumstances, pregnancy causes a lot of stress for a woman when she gets a prognosis that the pregnancy is bad, and further, that she will have to continue the pregnancy to term. It is absurd, unfair, and unjust, and against human rights and health rights. The argument that abortion beyond 20 weeks is risky to the woman is not true. The United Kingdom allows abortions till 24 weeks, and if there is a risk to the life of the woman and a substantial risk to the baby being born handicapped, the pregnancy can be terminated anytime, even after 24 weeks. China allows for abortions till 28 weeks. Dismissing another argument that allowing abortion beyond the 20-week time frame will lead to an increase in sex-selective abortions, Dr. Datar says, in my 25 years as a gynecologist, I have seen that those who want to undergo sex-selective abortions do not wait till they cross the 20-week period. On the pretext of controlling sex-selective abortions, we cannot let other women suffer because the government is not able to control sex determination. Since the turning down of Nikita Mehta's plea by the Bombay High Court, many cases seeking judicial sanction have come up. In 2016, the Supreme Court allowed a rape survivor to abort a 24-week fetus. In 2017, the Apex Court gave the go-ahead for termination of a 24-week pregnancy after the fetus was found to have anencephaly, a life-threatening condition in which the baby does not have parts of the brain and skull. But the same year, the Supreme Court refused permission to terminate the pregnancy of a 10-year-old rape survivor. It has also been noted that pregnant women have to face substantial mental and financial hardship by moving court to seek permission to terminate pregnancy when abnormalities are detected beyond the 20-week period. In 2014, the government drafted a bill to amend the act, allowing for termination up to 24 weeks, but the bill is yet to be passed. The sample registration system data shows unsafe abortions contribute to 8% of total maternal deaths, which makes a strong case to amend the Act to increase the availability of safe and legal abortions in India. To quote from The Economist, government may be in shambles in Nigeria, but politics is thriving. Consider this, with 84 million plus registered voters, 91 political parties and over 70 presidential aspirants, Nigeria is heading towards a presidential election on the 16th of February. In the last election in 2015, private donors of the previous president, Goodluck Jonathan, paid the now disgraced Cambridge Analytica over $1 billion to produce inflammatory social media campaigns, deriding then chief opposition candidate Muhammad Buhari. But the All Progressives Congress Party candidate, elected on promises to end corruption, reform a defunct education system, and defeat Boko Haram, made history by becoming the first candidate to defeat the then incumbent People's Democratic Party for the first time since Nigeria became a republic for the fourth time in 1999. Since colonization ended in the 1960s, Nigeria has had constant military dictatorships that overcame 3 attempts to set up a republic. This year, Buhari's main opposition is former Vice President Atiku Abubakar of the PDP, reports the Al Jazeera. But the question of the 70 other presidential candidates continues to surprise even citizens. Nigerian Alehi Adams, replying to an Al Jazeera tweet, said, "I've heard and seen 6 candidates, their campaign posters around, but only 2 seem to be campaigning. I know only 5 political parties with their logos. I have no idea what the others are or what their logos look like." Watch this space for more. Love your morning fix? Help support our journalism. Subscribe to Scroll Plus using the link in the description.